Did you see that? Beijing woke up to those banners today. They were hung up on an overpass, right in the heart of China's capital city. What does it say? I have some translations for you now. Say no to the COVID test, yes to food. No to lockdown, yes to freedom. No to lies, yes to dignity. No to a cultural revolution, yes to reform. No to a great leader, yes to vote. There's more. Don't be a slave, be a citizen. Yes, all those things were written on one of those banners. But the message on the second banner was much more grave. Go on strike, remove the dictator and national traitor Xi Jinping. The protest was brief, but it didn't escape the attention of the people nearby. Let me show you why. There were thick plumes of smoke billowing from the bridge. There was a loudspeaker too. It was playing a voice recording of the same protest slogans. Those were some incredible pictures. This was a rare protest against Chinese president in Beijing. It ended swiftly. We don't know who was behind it as of now. We'll just say we hope they are safe. Because within a few days, Xi Jinping will secure a third term in power. And the Chinese state has zero tolerance for something like this right now. Whomsoever the Communist Party considers a threat is being dealt with harshly. A major and sweeping crackdown is underway, and this is our cover story tonight on Gravitas. At the center of our story today is a ministry, the Ministry of Public Security. What is its purpose? Public security, according to the website of the Chinese government. Basically, this ministry oversees the vast internal security apparatus of the Chinese state.
God bless, keep your head up.
And we all know how important internal security is for the Communist Party. It is one of the main tools that the party uses to maintain its grip on power. Since June, the Ministry of Public Security has been conducting an operation, a 100-day operation. Reports say more than 1.4 million people have been arrested across the country so far. On what charges? We don't know that yet. Chinese authorities are calling them criminals. Are they really criminals? We don't know that either. However, what we can say for sure is this. The Chinese security apparatus has gone into an overdrive. And it is proclaiming loyalty to the party. Consider now what this top official of the Ministry of Public Security said recently. I quote, "We have always considered the general requirements of loyalty to the party, serving the people, impartial law enforcement, and strict discipline." Loyalty to the party and strict discipline, these two rules apply not just to the officers of the Chinese security establishment, but to the citizens too. And that brings me back to Beijing. The 20th Communist Party Congress begins this weekend. It happens once in every 5 years. Xi Jinping wants to use this opportunity to consolidate power. A term extension for him now seems simply like a formality. Tough measures are being put in place in Beijing. I have some stories for you now. Extra security personnel have been hired across Beijing. 42 guards will keep an eye on key people. Who are these key people? Individuals deemed to be troublemakers. In fact, according to one report, residents of Beijing are not being allowed to come back. Thousands of travelers have received these orders. They want to come back home. But the Chinese authorities are blocking their return. But why? Over COVID-19 fears. Authorities are afraid that open borders might flare up the pandemic situation in Beijing ahead of this crucial party congress. And the police in Beijing has swung into action too. They have banned drone flights. Cops are going after critics. They have been asked to leave Beijing under a police escort. Well, today's protest hardly represents a serious challenge for Xi Jinping. But it also confirms that despite all these tough measures, the Communist Party cannot keep the lid on dissent in China. Wion World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move. President Biden's first President Biden's first formal national security strategy identifies China as America. President Biden's first formal national security strategy identifies China as America's most consequential geopolitical challenge. CNN's Selena Wang, live from Hong Kong with a developing story. What else does President Biden's document say?
Well, Christine, in those 48 pages, it lays it out as outcompeting China and restraining Russia, but makes it clear that it is China that is the long-term challenge. It says, while Russia poses this immediate threat with its brutal war against Ukraine, China is the only country with the intent and increasingly the power to reshape the international order. U.S.-China relations right now, they are at the worst point in decades. And while the Biden administration has said it does not seek a new Cold War, his vision does lay out a world where America and its allies are increasingly in competition with China, Christine.
Now, we're also seeing a very rare sight, Selena, in Beijing. You're seeing these public protests against China's heavy-handed COVID restrictions. What's happening?
Well, so there were two big banners hung over a busy overpass in Beijing. In the videos, you can also see smoke coming from the bridge. We don't know what the source of smoke is. And one of the banners reads this, Christine, quote, "Go on strike, remove dictator and national traitor Xi Jinping." There was also a loudspeaker with an unidentified voice reading the banners. Now, this may just seem like a few banners hung in the Capitol, but I can't overstate just how rare and extraordinary this is to have in the Capitol not just opposition towards zero COVID, but towards Xi Jinping himself. And it's coming at such a sensitive time. We're just days away from the party Congress when Xi Jinping is expected to step into an unprecedented third term as China's supreme leader. There was also another banner that read, quote, "Say no to COVID test, yes to food, no to lockdown, yes to freedom, no to lies, yes to dignity, no to great leader, yes to vote, don't be a slave, be a citizen." And we've talked before about these punishing zero COVID policies in China, where entire cities are still being put under lockdown over just a handful of COVID cases, close contacts, and cases are sent off to government quarantine facilities. So we have seen growing dissent. In terms of this incident, we don't know if any arrests were made, but punishment for something like this could be severe. The people involved, they could face prison time or even worse, Christine.
Wow. All right, Selena Wang, that's just remarkable to have a visible protest like that in Beijing. Thank you so much.
Shalom, give all praise Yahweh, Shabbat Shem Rakakadash. Give honors to the elders and apostles, and the men in truth on down for this truth of knowledge. The Wadi Yahweh Shem Yashah for putting the spirit of the elders and apostles and the men on down regarding this truth of knowledge. All holy Yahweh Shem Yashah, Shabbat Shem Rakakadash. Give all praise Yahweh Shem Yashah, Shabbat Shem Rakakadash. I was relating to two videos, CNN, Wion, Gravitas, relating to rare footages relating to protests in China. Pretty much against Xi Jinping, the president, regarding restrictions, freedom, saying we're not slaves. We're pretty much going against the regime. 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Before I go to there, let me show you relating to articles relating to that. Rare protest criticizes China's president days before the Communist Party Congress, NBC News. Rare protest against Xi Jinping before Party Congress. Beijing witnesses rare protests against Chinese President Xi Jinping days before the Communist Party overthrow the dictator. Did Beijing just witness a rare protest against Chinese President Xi Jinping? This business in today. Rare protests days before the party, Communist Party, the Communist Party Congress. Rare political protest banners removed because they had banners out that was stating in Chinese saying we want freedom, we're not slaves, for example, different things, pretty much against the regime. Rare protests against China, Xi Jinping days before, against CNN, ABC News. China quashes social media about protest banners in Beijing, pretty much playing media damage control, man, regarding, I guess the seriousness or severity relating to that situation. Let's get some scriptures. Woe unto them, woe unto the world and them that dwell in. So it's a warning to the world and the inhabitants of the world therein. Pretty much woe means destruction or bad things to happen. 15. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. Modern day swords, the pistol, the gun, man. So groups, factions, different people versus different other groups, factions of people are going to rise up against one another, man. Scripture talks about one day all should go to their own kind, man. You know what I mean? Their own country, their own kind, man. So you're going to have a form of division and separation among the people. Everybody's not going to be kumbaya as you see, have the optics or the looks of everybody coming together. There's going to be a separation between different factions, nations, or groups of people, man. Number 16. For there shall be seditions. Seditions, mutiny, insurrection, violent uprising, man. Among men, invading one another, they shall not regard the kings nor princes, or the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So, the people, they're going to take the course of the actions in their hands, and their power in their hands, and they're not going to regard the kings and princes, which are the powers to be, man. And you're seeing that in various countries all over the world for the past few years, relating to a certain specific that's been going on for the past few years, for example. And for example, in that particular country, they're still protesting regarding that specific situation that's been going on for the past few years, man. So they're protesting regarding pretty much the lockdowns and the restrictions relating to that specific thing, man. So they're taking the course and the action and powers in their hands and now regarding the kings and princes, man. And you've been seeing that in various respective countries over economical, social, political issues in their respective countries regarding these things, man. 17. A man should desire to go to a city and should not be able to. Scripture talks about, I believe in 2 Ezra 16 and 27, they should desire to hear and see someone, you know, so the communication is going to be cut and they're not going to be able to move to and fro to see, man. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able to. Lockdowns, man, restrictions. Precursors are here, these various countries all over, man. Over specifics, man, that's been going on in the past few years. For because of their pride, the city shall be in trouble. For many great miseries shall happen in the latter times because they walk greatly in pride. 2 Ezra 8 and 50. So pride is one of the major component of reasons why you having these troubles, you having these calamities, you having these adversities come upon. For because of their pride, the city shall be in trouble, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. The state and condition of things that's going to be going on. Pride is the major component. Pride before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. 16:18 of Proverbs, man. So pride is the major reason, man. And and the cities are going to be in trouble. Desolation. Go to Isaiah 24:10 through 12, man. The city shall be in desolation. The houses shall be destroyed. Home invasion. Private, public entities, homes, businesses, they will be invaded. Why? Because there will be a lack of shortage of supplies, famine, a lack of victuals, food shortage and supply. There will be a lack of victuals, which relates to food and supplies, man. So they're invading to get the necessities, man, that they need, man. This is going to come a time, famines or precursors of famines will be shortages, man. Shortage of of goods, man. So that's why they're invading in these homes, man. That's why homes will be destroyed. That's why businesses will be destroyed. Because they're looking pretty much survival, man. The survival of the fittest. And men shall be afraid. Men, women, children, pretty much the inhabitants shall be afraid because of the conditions that will be going on in that time, man. Number 19. Man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So a man is not going to have pity upon his neighbor, for example, because especially when they need certain things. If they figure that neighbor has something, for example, they're going to go up in there, man. Something might happen to him, but they're going to try to go up in there because in that time, things are going to be limited. It'll be a scarcity, man. It'll be Darth, which goes to scarcity. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. That's the gun, man. That's one's coming in. That's one's that's bullets going out, man. So that's what's going to happen, man. So you're going to see in this country is a totem shoot 'em wild western type scenario. Because in this country is about them weapons, man. About them guns, man. You know what I mean? The pistols, man. Man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, using the gun, and spoil their goods. So they're going to spoil their goods. They're going to spoil their goods and everything in there, man. They're going to take what they want because it's going to be in that time is going to be bad times, man. Spoil their goods because of a lack of bread, food, and for great tribulation. Jeremiah 30:7. Jacob's trouble, never a time since Jacob's trouble. So it's going to be a time that's never been since before Jacob's trouble, man. A time that these people never experienced, man. It's going to be that bad. Jacob's trouble is trouble for Jacob. That's why it's called that, man. But really trouble for pretty much everybody on earth, man. Because especially when it reach here, man, to America. And it will come here in its due time and due season, man. That's why you seeing these things happen in these other places. These are testers for these other places, because from a scriptural aspect, the worst is going to happen here, because the greater relating to the judgment is going to happen here, man, whether you want to believe it or not. Let's go to 2 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Perilous goes to bad and evil times, man. This talks about the characteristics of how people are going to be right now, because they displaying these characteristics in the times to come, that these characteristics will really manifest on a higher level, man. Men shall be lovers of themselves, of their own selves, lovers of themselves. That goes to narcissism, self-conceited. For example of that, social media, man. Loving of oneself, man. You know what I mean? Self-love of oneself, man. That goes to narcissism, man. That goes to being self-conceited, arrogant. So you're seeing that. You're seeing the precursors of that, man. Covetous, wanting, boasters, man. Very proud, man. Always bragging, man. Proud, blasphemers, arrogant, man. Haughty, man. Disobedient, pretty much lack obedience, man. Disobedient to parents, unthankful, man. Unthankful, unholy, man. So they're disobedient, unthankful, unholy. That's the characteristics of a lot of these people, man, are displaying, man. But it's gonna amplify in the times to come, man. Move to the next scripture. Number 3, without natural affection. So you're not gonna. So that is gonna be not no natural affection. Go to Matthew 24:12. For iniquity shall abound, which is sin, and the love of many shall wax cold. So that love of many, that goes to pretty much not having that natural affection, man. Truce breakers. So they're gonna break their oath. They're gonna break their word, their bond, whether on paper or verbal. False accusers, bearing false witness, incontinent, lacking control, man. And you seeing a lot of people that have a very good at having are very good in lacking control, man. Incontinent, lacking control, fierce, which goes to savage, man. And that relates to pretty much the savage beast between of men and women, the characteristics that they display, man. A beast-like manner, man. Despiser of those that good, of ones who are good, one who's going contrary to these characteristics that I'm explaining. Number 3, traitors. So you're going to have betrayers, man. Internally, externally. Heedy, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of God. Go to James 4:4. Ye adulterers and adulterers that know that ye adulterers and adulterers know that a friendship of the world is an enmity, which goes to enemy of Yahweh B'Shem Yashah. So basically, ones who love of the world are enemy to the Lord, and the ways of the people in this world are lovers of this society, because their mindset is of this world, man. But the mindset, the ways of this world is wicked, is abomination to Yahweh B'Shem Yashah, man. So that's why the Lord hates them. So ye adulterers and adulterers know that friendship with the world is abomination. Ye know that ye. Let me get it, Shalak. Let me get it right, Shalakia. I'm kind of butchering up. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, man. So that means pretty much ones who are sinning, committing sin. Know ye that the friendship of the world is an enmity with God. So the friendship of the world is an enmity to God. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of Yahweh, man. And that's what that is, man. Because the ways of this world is an enemy to Yahweh Bashim Yashah. Shalak on that. Let's continue on. Isaiah 19 and 19, 19 and 2. Let me get that. Get it in red letter. Get in this one, it's fine. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, so for the citizen versus the citizen, and they shall fight, every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor. So brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, man. So you're going to have that big division, man. Think not that I come to send peace on earth, I say nay, but rather division. 12:51 of Luke, man. So the Lord is sending that division, man, between the people, the powers to be, and the rank internally, externally within the people itself, man. And pretty much that vibration that's being set forth upon the earth, man. Because we're not in a time of peace, man. Think not that I come to send peace, but the sword, man. That's 10:34 of Matthews, man. So the Lord's sending that sword and division upon the people, man. So we're not at time of peace, man. Going to Ecclesiastes 3 and 8. We're not in a time of peace, man. Second Ezra, let me go 16 and 18. This will be the last one. The beginnings of sorrows, which are mourning and lamenting, lamenting and mourning, which goes to great mournings, which are sorrows, goes with sorrows. Beginning of famine, shortages, precursors of that. Great death, you're seeing a lot of that. The beginnings of wars, hearing of wars, rumors of wars, for example, man. And the power shall stand in fear. In the beginning of evils. Evils are bad times, man. We're in the beginning of evils. We're in the latter stages of evils, man, because evil's been going on forever, man. But now the evils are going to intensify, man, because we're getting more closer, man, to certain things, man. I'll read it again. The beginnings of sorrows and great mourning, the beginnings of famine and great death, the beginnings of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, man. So all going to stand in fear relating to these things that's going to manifest, man. All these evils that are going to develop. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Pray be worthy to escape some of these evils, man. So it's asking a question, man. Lord willing, man. Revelations 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, because you're going to suffer. Something goes to bear, tolerate, and endure. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. Tried goes to testing. Testing goes to tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown. I will give thee a crown of light. So it's going to be a lot of people going to go through a lot of trials and tribulations. Let me get another scripture, one more. Number 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, and I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, because all going to be tried relating to the hour of temptation, especially over regarding specifics relating to a specific chapter relating to Revelations 13 and 13th chapter and 15 on down. And I will keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world. That means all going to be tried and tested regarding that, the hour of temptation, to try them that dwell upon the earth. And that's what's to come, man, not too far away. I hope this helps in some way, and give all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Makakadas, Zayah, Wolf, Shalom.